Splatoon 3. After buying the game, playing a few rounds of Turf War, and maybe the story, you stumble across Grizzco. He teaches you the basic fundamentals of his work, and there you have it. You're suddenly employed. Welcome to Salmon Run, a game mode where you collect salmon eggs for your boss and he pays you the minimum wage, and a promotion if you're doing well. As you continue your shifts, the difficulty increases along with your rank until... I have been playing Salmon Run a lot ever since I found out about it, and it's become the main mode I play whenever I log on. You get in teams of 4, collecting eggs for a quota, dealing with many enemies along the way. Moz, my favorite. I will say though, it's not for everyone. As the difficulty increases, it's really easy to get overwhelmed where your team just wipes out or you don't meet quota in time. It does not help that in Salmon Run, you don't pick the weapons. Grizzco does. You might be lucky with a good weapon rotation, but the moment you're on a weapon you can't play... But that's not all. After you finish a few rounds, occasionally you'll get an extra wave, which comes with a King Salmonid. There are 3 types, and if you happen to have a rotation in which your weapons are randomized, you're going to get the Triumvirates, which is... This encounter is actually what started my deep dive into Salmon Run. After encountering several Triumvirates in one session, I searched up information and how to defeat them, finding a goldmine of videos specifically about Salmon Run, and man... oh man, I knew I wanted to be a freelancer then and there. If you know anything about me, anytime I get interested in something, I start researching. A lot. And so, there's 2 categories when it comes to Salmon Run players, and that is freelancing and overfishing. Freelancing is mainly the experience of solo queuing and trying to get promoted. Overfishing, however, get a squad to join you and you just... Yeah, I mean, it's called overfishing for a reason. I do want to get into overfishing at some point, but for now, I've been more interested about freelancing and the fundamentals because as the title suggests, I'm not that great. Which is why I started researching and found this absolutely informative channel that has basically taught me everything. I highly recommend her channel if you also wanted to get into Salmon Run because it's genuinely taught me a lot and made the learning process much easier. I will link her channel along with a few others in the description if you ever wanted to jump in the rabbit hole. But so far from what I've learned, there's boss cycles, aggro and de-aggro. I really hate flyfish. Don't forget you have a bomb. Don't forget to paint the walls. I also hate stingers, moths. Staying near the water too long is not really a good idea. Different weapons excel at different tasks. Training range dummies' HP are actually based on the boss's HP, and it's a really good idea to test out the weapons every rotation on the dummies in the training range. There's a bunch more, but then this would become an info dump of Salmon Run from an unprofessional player, and I don't think that would be a reliable source. But with all that information, did it really help with freelance? During the first few games I started playing, it was really hard to put all the things I've learned into use. I mean, I still struggle with the King Salmonids, and I've only beaten the Kohozuna out of all 3 of them. Staying alive? Kind of hard when you're... overwhelmed. The thing is though, researching did help. I would struggle, yes, but when I sat down and thought about it, I was getting better. And you could actually see it because I started to become consistent. Whether I was ranking up or down, I was able to stabilize it, having an average, which would basically be my ability in the game. As of now, I've played approximately 150 hours on Splatoon 3, and I sit comfortably at Professional plus 3. I have gotten up to EVP 120 however, and I hope to get to a point where it stays in that AVP range. I learned a few techs before, such as sub-strafing and squid rolling, but I was never able to actually practice or use them in matches. For reference, sub-strafing is the act of holding down your sub-weapon while you swim to make sharp turns. Salmon Run was actually perfect for that. Obviously, you never went against actual players in Salmon Run, so their patterns were more obvious, and once you get those patterns down, it was easier to focus on your actions and practice techs. There's so much to learn in this game. Positioning, decision-making, resource management. Huh. It almost sounds like... GameSense is the situational awareness and decision-making when it comes to video games. It's a key skill to learn, especially when it comes to shooter games like Overwatch and Splatoon 3. Though, it can be hard to practice, especially if you're going against other players. The original topic of this video was actually going to be about how Salmon Run can help you work on your game sense, and that it applied to regular Splatoon battles. But I believe that video would end up being way too short, and I didn't know how to write out the script at the time, so this is just gonna be a section of the video. When it comes to Salmon Run, it is essential to know the game sense if you want to improve and climb the ranks, just like Anarchy battles. The parallels of the two game modes, when you really think about it, aren't that different. Basic knowledge of weapons, abilities, and maps are all essential to learn, and learning little tricks and details about each one helps immensely. As I've said previously, there are certain techs in the game, and they're all worth knowing to create many more opportunities on how to approach situations. To get into details besides the basic fundamentals, learning to react fast to your situation and adapting to your surroundings is another key part of game sense, as well as Salmon Run and Splatoon 3. I will say this does come with time as well, because you can't just quicken your reaction time overnight. However, you can understand your situation and come up with a decision in the moment. Decision making can make or break your run, as sometimes you need to prioritize certain bosses or ignore them for the sake of eggs or time. Not only that, you have the ability to throw eggs, but it does take up a significant portion of your ink tank, so deciding whether to throw an egg or deliver it straight to the basket is also something you need to have in mind. I could go on about more parallels and details of everything, but I think out of all the information I could give, the best advice I'd have, and honestly the only thing you could really need, is patience and practice. You may consume as many videos and tips as you like, but really putting that into the game and learning from it needs time and so much patience. You're not going to be the greatest right away, and you're going to fail most of the time, but it's part of the process. Splatoon 3 in general is very dynamic and constantly in motion, and it's really easy to get caught up in the adrenaline and end up making decisions because there's so much information to take in. But honestly, sometimes it makes things so much easier to take a second to pause and look at the things around you. It certainly helped me to calm down and make better decisions on what I can see. Slowing down and having a good tempo can do wonders. I know that's what makes the heavyweight weapons much more tolerable for me to use, as I'm a person who usually prefers speed and quick movement. It helps you be more proactive with your moves, and genuinely, learning the tempos of heavyweights made me enjoy playing them a lot more, and actually love some of them in Salmon Run. Salmon Run is genuinely fun, and I absolutely adore it and the process of getting better. I really do recommend trying it sometime and watching guides if you ever get stuck. I've done that before with weapons I struggled with. And if it doesn't seem like anything's working, don't be afraid to just put the controller down and take a break. Not every day is going to be great. I've had my fair share of good and bad matches, and if it's starting to take a toll on you, it's not worth it to keep going. Take a breather, come back when you're ready. The game is always going to be there for you, and you're going to get better. Someday when I do improve and feel comfortable enough in my skills, I'll try overfishing, and who knows? Maybe I'll make a video on that when the time comes. But for now, I think I'll stick to freelancing.